Billionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
A poor man prayers,
every man bleeds.
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.
Under the Fair Use Act, these videos are for information and educational purposes, and I do not own the rights to any of these videos that are shown. All rights reserved to the original content creators.
Yo, what's going on? This your boy SL550, and this is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Before we start, man, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Appreciate all the love I've been getting this past month. Definitely been elevating, and that's what it's all about for me. It's about going up, and definitely been going up, man. It's small, but for me, it's major. You heard? But today, man, we're going to talk about a few things. First, I want to get into this Eagles, man. I've been wanting lately to expand the conversations on the channel, so I want to start doing that and not solely focus on politics. Even though I'm into what's going on, I got a wide range of topics that I can speak on, culture, sports, religion, whatever. So, I want to get into a few different things today. Number one, I want to get into this Eagles loss. Very upset last night. I'm going to tap in with the time. It's my show, and we going to go over this Eagles loss. Man, I'm sick. I ain't going to lie. I'm sick, man. We've been playing terrible. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm not them unrealistic ones, man. I'm a sports fan. I love sports. I love football, and I know the game. You know what I mean? I know probably people's team better than they do. I'm not one of them super analytics. Like, they could be like, yo, in 1995, such and such threw for 342 yards on a Thursday night. I'm not one of those. I'm definitely a fan, though. But anyway, then we're going to tap in with Man Morse TV. He going to go over this whole, I don't know if it's possible, or this whole EU feud that Trump is having with them over this whole Russia-Ukraine war. So we're going to get into that. Then tap in with RJ Talks, giving some more detail on Ilhan Omar and how she has, I heard this from what the information is, she married her brother, and this came out years ago, and he got more details on this. So we're gonna save it for that. And then I'm going to end the show. I want to go into this segment with a couple Muslim brothers who got a show. Shout out to them. And just for, let me see something real fast. Where the heck did that go? Dang, where did it go? Here we go. All right, so shout out to them. Their show is called, I was going to play this other one with Ali Dawa, but I'll save that for another time. But they broke down some good points in that one. But they're my bad. I should have known it. But this is the first time I've seen this video. First time tapping in with them. But it's called I3 Institute. Two Muslim brothers having a conversation. I believe they're from Canada. But it was a really good conversation that I wanted to talk about, being as though I'm Muslim. I'm not a perfect Muslim. I don't claim to be a perfect Muslim. I have my faults. I do need to do better, though. I be cursing a lot, and I need to stop cursing altogether. But I fall short, and I just ask the Lord to forgive me. But I wanted to go into this video specifically because Muslims been getting a lot of backlash with what's going on in London, and also what's going on in the United States. So it's like a few who is like making this big thing. But my perspective real fast is, if you know, you know. And when it comes to Islam has been getting a bad rap in the United States for a long time. Let's be honest. Between 9/11 and now, it's been like even worse. And even though we know that there was lies with the whole 9/11 thing, a lot of information came out on that. The whole Israel feud between Israel and Hamas. There's been a lot of programming, mass distractions, and a lot of underlying issues, but more so lies that have been told on Islam. And for me, I'm an American, so not to say I understand it in a way where I agree with it, no. But at the same time, you understand why certain people do certain things. You know what I mean? And here in America has been this whole massive programming about Islam. And that's why most of Americans feel the way they feel, even though Islam is one of the top religions, is grown massively, but I just don't like the lies that be told. That's what I don't like. It'd be a lot of content creators who get online and speak on Islam and never read the Quran. And that's my thing on it. Don't speak on something you don't know about. Now, you also have the ones out there who are Christian who do nothing but try to debunk Islam, but they can't. And they come online, and I watch their videos because they're interesting, but they never back it up with no true evidence, and it's just a bunch of just hating stuff, Islamophobic stuff. But I'm not extreme on this stuff. I got my belief system just like everybody else. Religion, politics, not the same, but as far as the nature of the two, they're tough topics to talk about. People believe what they believe in, and that's fine. But the brother, anyway, I'm getting off, but the brother made a very valid point that I respect, I understand, and I think if most Americans, being as though we're here in America, if most Americans looked at this the way he is putting it out there, I think people will understand Islam a little more. But more importantly, what he says that I'm gonna leave for him to say, which is very important, because that's the part, and we're gonna let him get into it at the end. But you'll see what I'm saying. But he made a very valid point that I totally agree with, and I think that's the part that's causing this huge feud between Muslims and Christians and Muslims and the United States altogether. And I agree totally 100% with him, but we'll get into that toward and then. So let's break this down. Let's get into this Eagles loss. Oh my goodness. Sick ain't the word.
Now, for weeks, I've started every single recap show blaming Ken Patullo and the offensive play calling for the sins of Philadelphia. And listen, Monday night was not perfect, as we'll see, by any means, but there's no way I can pretend like that loss was even remotely on Ken Patullo.
Hold on, Tom. So you tripping already. Say, nah, I ain't tripping.
Millionaire thoughts,
Oh, my God.
billionaire dreams. I know niggas who play ball.
My bad, bro. My bad. That just blew my shit. I hate when I do that. I've gotten so good at this where this doesn't happen, and it happened today. Anyway, when it come down to the game, the thing that I didn't like, now the game was the thing. The Eagles been making me mad because we have been not playing with that same, energy, that same pizzazz that we had last year, and it's bothering me. And like I tell people, the biggest thing for me is the team is the same pretty much. We made some we lost some people on defense, but we also made some upgrades on defense. Defense been playing way more solid these last 3 weeks. But it was 1st and 10. We had about 10, it was fourth quarter, overtime, about, I say, a little over 2 minutes left in the game. I believe we might have even had all our timeouts, right? We had no reason to keep passing the ball. That's the only thing that I didn't like, right? The game, was back and forth. Nobody was really scoring. I think between both teams, it was only, 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Hampton scored in the beginning, and then Saquon had that big run for a touchdown. But in the end, Saquon had a pretty solid game, first and 10, we can see we literally had a good pass to Goddard, and we had some good plays. It's like, all right, we got the passing game off. We down there in the red zone, guaranteed to get at least 3 points to tie it up. But you know as well as I know, when you pass the ball, you taking that risk. And Jalen messed up, bro. He threw it in a super tight window, risked it, and it cost the game. Period. But I believe the only thing I can say about Kevin Patullo with yesterday is in that last series, bro, why was you passing the ball every down? I didn't get it, bro. And on top, like, the game is on the line. We scored, we win the game. I just didn't get that part of it. But let's see what Thomas might got to say.
In fact, I thought the play calling was maybe the most unique we've seen all season. Again, it's not saying much. Not like they magically were Ben Johnson's offense, but over the middle shots look good. The rushing attack, way more balanced. And most importantly, they actually moved the football. Philadelphia in that game, they had just 2 3 and outs. They were averaging like 6 or 7 the entire season. And they only had 6 penalties. And most of them, well, every single penalty is devastating, were not pre-snap penalties. They cleaned up 2 of their biggest problems. And yet the rest of it, I don't even know what to say. I guess some of the credit can go to Nick Sirianni, maybe. I mean, he said he was more involved in the offensive meetings this week, which we'll never know if that made an impact for sure. But just a little side note here, A.J. Brown did say, when asked post-game, yes, Nick Sirianni made a difference.
Yeah, I do. It still comes down to executing, regardless if he's involved or he's not involved. It comes down to executing and finishing drives, and multiple times early on in the game, we didn't do that. And so, but at times we got it going. And like I said, just executing these drives and finishing these drives.
But again, it's not like Philadelphia's offense magically looked like the Rams or the Bears. It was still tough sledding for the majority of the game. But based on last week versus the Bears, it looks slightly better. And the problem is, when it looks slightly better, Jalen Hurts then took a nosedive and looked absolutely terrible. You guys know me. I'm a Jalen Hurts supporter. It's very hard not to be after what he did in 2024, especially in that Super Bowl. But Monday night, that loss goes squarely on him. As his 5 total turnovers were basically all his fault, and there's no way I can even remotely come on here and try and defend these. I mean, the majority of his turnovers came when they were on the Chargers side of the football. They were moving the ball well, they were driving for points, and Jalen Hurts cost him.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I gotta agree with him. Because listen, bro, I'm one of the few, bro. When everybody was dissing Jalen, I said this before, I supported Jalen Hurts 100%. I seen the greatness in him. And I'm not gonna see people, Philly fans, bro, one thing I dislike is like, bro, it'd be like 2 losses. Like with right now, I've heard somebody tell me, put it like this, we need to bench Jalen Hurts. I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, this dude went to the playoffs every single year, bro. Every single year, went to 2 Super Bowls. I feel like we got cheated the first one. But anyway, he lost the first one, won the second one. And in outstanding fashion at that, bro. Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. The one thing I love the most is his composure. But yesterday, I ain't gonna lie, bro. He threw some, the one interception, it did get tipped, I believe, by A.J. Brown, but still. It was some tight windows he was trying to throw that ball through that I didn't like. But it's still, all in all, the play calling still was better, but it's still mediocre, bro. When I hate seeing him on third down throwing these little dump passes in the flat. It makes me mad. Like, I'm like, what's going on? But, the game was better yesterday. I'll say that much. It was definitely better, but we got to score more. But I'm used to what's scoring. I'm used to Jalen Hurts going down that field and putting up 3 tutties a game. Easily, too. Easily. But, like, the last 3 weeks, bro, we've been looking crazy.
I didn't play enough. I didn't play well enough. Too many turnovers.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities, especially when we get on the other side of the 50, and I wasn't able to get us in the box.
And of course, none were worse than the last one that sealed the game. Philadelphia literally had 2 perfect plays right before this throw. They were moving the football down the field. They were looking competent. And then first and 10, the ball's at the 17-yard line, Jalen. You do not have to press. And then he decides to backpedal and throw off his back foot into tight coverage. And what do you know? It's intercepted once again, making for one historically horrific performance from QB1 to close out the night.
I knew it was going to be a tight window throw. I'd have to watch the film to see see it from the eyes, film's point of view. Ultimately, it's a play that I didn't make. He got a hand on the ball, and I didn't make the play.
There is no defending Jalen Hurts today. There's no way to do it. He was awful. He doesn't make those interceptions. This game is different. And yet, at the same time, we have to at least acknowledge the two truths. He did make some good throws in this game, made a lot of bad ones. Yeah. They did have a chance to win in the end. I mean, for instance, I can think of 3 throws that would have changed the game had they been caught. All went to the same wide receiver. The drop over the middle, for sure, took points off the board. I mean, this is terrible. And then an absolute dime by Jalen Hurts right into A.J. Brown's hands for what should have been the game winner.
We've been setting things up all game, and he made a play, man. That one hurt me. I'm more than capable of making those plays. Jalen trusts me in any situation. I made some plays, but I wasn't great when it mattered.
That's again some uncharacteristic stuff. I don't know if AJ's had a drop in the last 2 years. Just had an uncharacteristic one today. I don't know if how many the stat sheet said he had, but a little uncharacteristic there.
AJ Brown's.
I got it. We won't end it with that. I ain't gonna keep the sports segment too long. But yo, AJ didn't make it. He said it, man. He owned up to it, and I respect that. But he got to make them catches. Like I said, that tip ball, that was catchable. It was catchable. He catches them. He catches insane shit. A.J. Brown is top 5 best receivers in the NFL right now. And the one joint was in, I'm talking about that joint was in the bucket. I couldn't believe it. But, he definitely had some major drops, and hey, man, it cost the game. That's how it works, bro. I think we did good overall as far as like the run. We got the running game going. Less penalties for sure, man. The penalties been killing us. But Jalen didn't have a good game. But the thing that I love and the thing that I have confidence in, and I'm gonna end it with this, is Jalen Hurts is a winner, bro. It's the one thing you can't take from that boy. That boy is a winner, and I think this was probably the last straw for Jalen. I could see him coming out. We got I guess you could say somewhat easy one, but it's not. It's like Oakland is the Raiders is one of them teams who they got some decent players over there. Like Brock Bowers. They got Agenti over there. Geno been playing solid these last couple years. But they offensive line is terrible, so I can see us putting Geno on his ass, a few times. So I think we get that win next week, but I just don't like the way we've been playing, man. But I can see that being a little spark, you know what I mean? And I hope so. I hope that's the case. But let's get on to the next segment with my guy, Matt Moore's TV, going over this whole EU situation and what they trying to possibly do is crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we just got some absolutely insane news coming out of the European Union that frankly is probably going to make some of you just a little bit angry. You see, as of today, we're now hearing from numerous independent sources that the European Union is planning on trying to crash the U.S. economy if President Trump walks away from supporting Ukraine. So in essence, if President Trump stops giving U.S. tax dollars to the Ukrainian war effort, the European Union is going to kick off an all-out economic war against the United States. Now, to be specific, what they're planning, should President Trump walk away from the table, that is to dump $2.34 trillion in U.S. treasuries that are currently being held by the European Union and the United Kingdom. And if they were to actually do this, the U.S. dollar would drop in value by upwards of 30%, the U.S. stock market would similarly drop in value by up to 40%, and we would have a banking crisis worse than what we saw in 2008. So folks, just to be blunt here, as things currently stand, the European Union is effectively attempting to extort hundreds of billions of dollars out of the United States of America. And once again, if we don't comply with their demands, well, they're just going to try to crash the entire U.S. economy. Folks, this is economic terrorism, pure and simple.
I know one thing for sure, Trump ain't having that shit. And Trump is strategic. So I don't see this happening, but it's definitely not a good thing. But the thing that I did, the one thing you see so much with Zelensky is that he's always talking about security guarantees. Now, for me, I just sat back and I was just thinking about this. When he says this, is it security guarantees in the aspect of that he doesn't get fucked with and locked up for the things that he's done? Because we know he's been doing some malicious things. Or is he talking about security guarantees where Russia no longer is getting, is going to invade Ukraine or whatever the case may be when it comes to this whole war? But I don't know. I just think that this is a big money grab. And this is what happens when you have incompetent presidents in the office. And Joe Biden was the biggest of them all. But you have ones before him who have been, and even Trump, I believe is too complacent with Israel and things that they have done, bro. I don't like it. I don't approve of it. I think that Israel has pretty much got America in a lot of beef and war for nothing, to be honest with you. And this is what happens when you have these big agendas and whatnot. But it's actually crazy, to be honest with you. And I don't mess with that. I don't know why we have such a relationship with them, but they have got us into countless wars, and they too involved with this dual citizenship in our government, that a lot of government officials have this dual citizenship. You can't trust it. These people have access to classified information, all types of, it's a national security risk. I don't care what you say. And I don't know why this small country has such a hold on America, but I believe at some point in the future we'll find out. But I don't like it whatsoever. And that's probably the biggest thing that I dislike about what Trump has got going on. But it's similar to presidents before him and Biden and all of them. They all have this one thing in common, which is Israel. And I see so many people, and we'll get into it in the last segment about that, but see so many people basically criticizing Trump and everybody about this whole Israel thing. And the more I looked into it, the more I understand, people's feelings on this. But we'll get into that later.
Now, very curiously, this news from the European Union actually comes out just as President Trump has floated a brand new peace deal between the Ukraine and Russia, a peace deal that he actually spoke about just earlier this morning. Take a look.
If Zelensky rejects this deal, is there a timeline? Is there a point at which you say, okay?
Well, he's going to have to get on the ball and start accepting things. When you're losing, because you're losing.
Do you think Ukraine has lost this war?
Yeah.
Well, they've lost territory long before I got here. They lost a whole strip of seafront, big seafront. You look at the maps. I've been here for 10 months, but you go back 10 months and take a look. They lost that whole strip. It's now a bigger strip. It's a wider strip, but they lost a lot of land, and it's very good land, too, that they lost.
Another aspect of this too is that Zelensky isn't holding any more elections, so he's basically a dictator in Ukraine right now, I think it's all of that in one for Zelensky, and the reason why he's not approving of these deals, because other than that, if Russia, I don't know what Russia terms is or what they are talking about, but I'm pretty sure Trump, he's the president. I'm pretty sure he is talking to some people talking to Russia about ending this war. And I'm pretty sure they're willing, but it's going to be some give and take in this whole situation.
I certainly wouldn't say it's a victory. I could show you a chart. It's a lot of land they lost.
So folks, there you have it. Now, President Trump is just openly admitting the obvious. The war in Ukraine has not gone the way that the European Union had wanted it to. And of course, all of this has ultimately influenced the ongoing negotiation process. Take a look.
Your team has been going back and forth between Putin and Zelensky with various drafts of a peace deal. Which country right now is in the stronger negotiating position?
Well, there can be no question about it. It's Russia. It's a much bigger country. It's a war that should have never happened. Frankly, it wouldn't have happened if I were president, and it didn't happen for 4 years. I watched that taking place, and I said, wow, they're going to cause some problems here. And it started, and it could have evolved into World War III, frankly. I think it's probably not going to be happening now. I think if I weren't president, you could have had World War III. I think you would have had a much bigger problem than you have right now. But right now, it's a big problem. It's a big problem for Europe, and they're not handling it well.
And that, folks, is pretty much the understatement of the century. The reality is, if not for President Trump's ongoing diplomatic efforts, this entire situation probably would have erupted into World War III. That's the way things were going. But now, what President Trump had to say next is absolutely going to blow your mind. Take a look.
Is it time for Ukraine to hold an election, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long time. It hasn't been doing particularly well. Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's an important time to hold an election. You know, they're using war not to hold an election, but I would think the Ukrainian people would, should have that choice, and maybe Zelensky would win. I don't know who would win, but they haven't had an election in a long time. You know, they talk about a democracy, but it gets to a point where it's not a democracy anymore.
And folks, Ukraine is most certainly at that point. In fact, Ukraine was supposed to have a new presidential election in March of 2024, almost 2 years ago now, but Zelensky has frozen the elections, declared martial law, and effectively established himself as dictator of the entire country.
Which I think,
by the way, also
which I think ultimately is one of the biggest things for him, and this is why he keeps talking about securities. That's like the biggest. It's like all you hear him say, and I think it's more so him not wanting to be charged with any type of crimes and things like that, and also money. Of course, he definitely wants more money. Don't they all? But this is one big. Just one big money grab, bro. It's all it's about, bro.
Noting real quick, just because there's a war going on does not mean that you get to indefinitely suspend the democratic process. In fact, there's actually a famous American you might have heard of, a guy named Abraham Lincoln, who very famously maintained the 1864 presidential election. Right smack dab in the middle of the U.S. Civil War, mind you. So yeah, if they could manage to do it 150 years ago during one of the most brutal wars in all of recorded history, I think Zelensky can manage to put together an election as well. But folks, now I want you all to take a listen to what President Trump had to say about Zelensky's response to the most recent peace proposal. And
hold on real quick, cause I gotta let this situation. I guess cause Trump's that interview is political or something, so it's one of them like 60-minute style videos. So it's like, there we go. All right, we're good.
by the way, you guys need to see this. But first, I do want to say real fast that if you folks enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out.
Is Zelensky responsible for the stalled progress, or what's going on there?
Well, he's got to read the proposal. He hadn't he hasn't read it yet.
The most recent draft.
So that's as of yesterday. And maybe he's read it over the night. It would be nice if he would read it. You know, a lot of people are dying.
Like, just think about how disrespectful that is, man. Just think about that.
So it would be really good if he'd read it. His people loved the proposal. They really liked it. His lieutenants, his top people, they liked it. But they said he hasn't read it yet. I think he should find time to read it.
So, yeah, Zelensky himself has...
Like, just think about that. You got a proposal on the table. So that goes to show you that he doesn't want to. And I think it's more so power-stricken. You know, I think he's in over his head on this whole situation. He's in a situation where he's at war with a country that he can't beat. I mean, how it's coming off. I don't know all the details on this Russia-Ukraine war, but for me, I just look at it like all of these words are unnecessary. It's dumb. It's just like, you know, who's building the biggest bomb. It's all demonic, to be honest with you. But a lot of people are losing their lives in this situation, and this guy is stalling and continuing to have his people out there on the front lines, pretty much dying for nothing at this point. Like, what is it for? I mean, like I said, I think the only way this gets done is if there's some give and take in the situation and getting past this. Other than that, man, at some point, whether the EU threatens anything, at some point, bro, you got to cut ties with this situation as a country. I mean, it's unsustainable. You can't just keep throwing money at it. It's not going to work. And we don't want to. Americans don't want to. We don't want to continue these wars, especially we're not in them. So we're involving ourselves in things and that could potentially get worse and turn into World War III. You know what I'm saying? Being as though Russia and China have a relationship, and North Korea also, I believe, has a relationship with them. So it's not like, it's not like, China and these other countries don't have their eyes sighted on the United States of America, bro. Like, let's be honest.
Hasn't even read the peace deal. The Ukrainian people seem to like it, but Zelensky, he just doesn't have the time. And then, of course, in an interview like this, President Trump had to deal with the accusation that he's colluding with Russia. Take a look.
But he thinks the changes that you're making and what you laid out in your vision for Europe is what Moscow wants to see.
I have no vision for Europe. All I want to see is a strong Europe. Look, I have a vision for the United States, America first. It's make America great again. I do explain to Europe because I think, I'm supposed to be a very smart person. I have eyes. I have ears. I have knowledge. I have vast knowledge. I see what's happening. I get reports that you will never see. And I think it's horrible what's happening to Europe. I think it's endangering Europe as we know it. Europe could be a whole different place.
Your impact.
And I think the European people should do something about it.
And of course, now we're talking about Europe's ongoing immigration crisis.
And that's basically him saying, like, basically, this is really your problem. I mean, allies, but at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, I'm America first. So I can't keep just Biden and them already threw billions at this. Nothing came of it. At this point, it's like just a stalled situation. And I think, like he said, I'm privy to information that, you're not going to see. So he knows, he knows. That's why I remember that first time when they had that whole feud with him and J.D. Vance started coming at Zelensky. Like, you could just tell after that, like, you could tell Trump is frustrated with this whole situation. And they always started out there, ever since the Russia hoax and them put out there that, Donald Trump colluded with Russia, they think, Donald Trump got this special relationship with Putin. When, bro, Obama was seen buddy with Putin. I mean, they're leaders of their country. I mean, what do you want him to be? How you want him to be towards these people? He's trying to make peace with them. He's already came out nationally and said, listen, he wants to end this. He wants to come to the table, get this deal done, and be over it. This is a situation that's ongoing, and it's just there. You know what I'm saying? He's worrying about possibly losing his tariff situation. He got Democrats every day spewing lies about him. Half of the American people out here protesting and doing a bunch of nonsense. ICE, he's trying to get illegal immigrants out of the country. He's trying to do things to better the country, and he's getting from every direction. And then you got this Russia-Ukraine war over here. You know what I mean? Even, bro, he got the peace as of right now between Israel and Hamas from what it looks like. But that's another thing. But and he stopped other wars that have been going on that I didn't even know about, to be honest. So I just see, a Trump being America first, bro. That's why I fuck with him,
Because as you all know, with the way that immigration has recently been going in Europe, Europe is going to be a pretty different place in the next couple of decades, to say the least. And by the way, I think we all want a peaceful, strong, cooperative Europe, but pretty much that's the exact opposite of what we're currently getting. Which is why President Trump just had this to say.
Some leaders in Europe are a little freaked out by what your posture is, and European.
No, they should be freaked out by what they're doing to their countries. They're destroying their countries.
Well, European Council President.
And they're people I like. Look, they're people I like. I get along with them. You know that. But they can't let this happen. And it gets to a point where you can't really correct it. There'll be a point, and it's very close to that point.
And what will that mean?
It will mean that they're no longer going to be strong nations.
Does that mean they won't be allies
Or
anymore?
they'll be, well, it depends, it depends. They'll change their ideology, obviously, because the people coming in have a totally different ideology. But it's going to make them much weaker. They'll be much weaker, and they'll be much different.
And what will that mean for our relationship
look at
with
your mayor
them?
of London. He's a disaster. He's a disaster. He's got a totally different ideology of what he's supposed to have. And he gets elected because so many people have come in and they vote for him now because, it's like, it's one of those things. But I hate what's happened to London, and I hate what's happened to Paris. I hate when I see it.
And so, folks, here's...
But can't you respect that, though? We're going to end it with that. But can't you respect that, like, from your president? Just being real, bro. And that's the thing that I think people hate the most about Trump is that he's too honest, but I like that about him. And I think the people that do mess with Trump, that's the number one thing that they respect about Trump is the fact that he's very transparent about how he feels. And listen, we've become too soft as a nation. At the end of the day, no matter your religious background or anything like that, America is America. Everybody know the history. Everybody knows, how we got to this point. But right now, within the last 5 years, it has gotten extremely soft with all of this nonsense going on. And it's ridiculous, bro. It's actually ridiculous, man. I was in a doctor's office today, and the woman asked me if I basically like along the question of do I was I assigned male or female at birth? I'm like y'all. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was just like, y'all really ask people that? And she's like, looked at me dead serious. You could tell she's a liberal, and she was offended by me asking that. So I'm like, I apologize. I didn't mean to offend you, but you could tell. I'm like just thinking in my mind, like, yo, this is crazy, bro. Like, really think about that, man. She's looking dead at me, bro. I got a beard. Like, bro, like, to even ask me that question, I feel offended. What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, come on, bro. This is where we come to, bro. Come on, let's be honest, bro. This type of ideology is making this country super soft, bro. And it's crazy. I don't get it, bro. I really don't, man. But, hey, man. Hopefully this whole situation can get handled because it's just an ongoing nothing. And the only thing that's happened is people are losing their lives. Family are losing loved ones. and that's it. That's it. It's nothing, the only thing that could come out of it that's positive is just it ending. They just need to end this. It's stupid. But anyway, let's get on to this next story with Ilhan Omar. We're going to tap in with my guy, RJ Talks TV. If you're not tapped in. Tap in with him. Give him a subscribe. But he goes over in more detail than I've heard. It's the first time I'm hearing these things about Ilhan Omar and her whole situation with her brother and a little more information. Let's get into it, though.
It is Tuesday, December 9th, and Representative Ilhan Omar is in trouble. New breaking reporting that Ilhan did, in fact, marry her brother. The real story now coming out, and it reads something too dramatic, even for TV. Wait till you see this.
Kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
They certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that marries her brother to get in and then becomes a congressman, does nothing but complain. All she does is complain, and yet her country's a mess. It's one of the worst in the world. let her go back, fix up her own country. Somalia, yeah, and I was right about it. You know, I started complaining about Somalia long before the scandal. The horrible things they're doing to Minnesota, it's incredible. They have an incompetent governor there, too. The Democrats are running some bad ships.
In a new exclusive Daily Mail report, they confirm that Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar did in fact marry her brother, family friends going on the record for the first time and saying she would, quote, do what she had to do to get her brother papers to keep him in the United States. This story, it first broke years ago, probably 8 years ago or something like that. It was then given national attention on Tucker Carlson's Fox.
But just think about this. Tucker came out with this story about 8 years ago, he says, and nothing was done about it. You know what I mean? Nothing. Like, this is how corrupt our government is, bro. And it's because ultimately they have bigger agendas. And this is why you see what's going on, bro, because they're allowing this stuff to happen, bro. Listen, Ilhan Omar, Muslim or not, like I said, I don't claim to be perfect, but the things that she is accused of doing, it doesn't align with my faith at all. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, how you got your brother, like, you're committing fraud, bro. You're as a politician, congressman, congresswoman, you got to hold yourself to a higher standard. And you got to understand, these people are dealing with big money, big budgets. They're in a field where, like, yo, bro, this is why you have all this fraud going on, and you have to be held, like, this is why officials, government officials, people that are in the government should be held to a higher standard and should be vetted properly, like, extremely, you know what I mean? And it should be a standard, because if not, bro, if things don't dramatically change in the United States of America, it's done. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. And I'm so happy that Trump won this election, because you've seen the direction it was going, and it wasn't going to be pretty. And on top of that, you don't even know the agenda of a lot of these people that are in here, including the ones that have dual citizenship with Israel. You just don't know these people's true agenda. And how they're able to do this is crazy to me. I don't understand that. I don't get it. How could you have allegiance to two countries? Impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible, bro. And these people are privy to national security information, all types of information, bro. So it's like, who really controls come on. It's crazy. This stuff get deep, bro.
Fox News show, the story that mainstream media, by the way, refuses to touch, which is very telling. It's the one story you never hear them fact check, which tells you everything. Well, we now know why, because it turns out it's true, at least according to this new Daily Mail report. They interviewed close family friends of Ilhan's, including a guy named Abdi Hakim Osman, the first person to go on record speaking about this, saying she wanted to get her brother papers so he could stay in this country, stay in the United States, saying she said she needed to get papers for her brother to go to school. We all thought she was just getting papers to allow him to stay in the country. When she married him, though, no one even knew about it. No one knew there had been a wedding until the media turned up the certificate years later. And he's not the only one. Apparently, members of Ilhan's community are a bit perturbed now by all of this. Not because she married her brother, but because she did so using a Christian minister instead of an imam. Check this out. She first married a guy named Ahmed Hirsi in 2002 in a Muslim ceremony. Then they legally split in 2008. Osman saying when Ilhan got married to Hirsi, a lot of people were invited. It was a big Islamic wedding uniting two large clans in the community. But when she married her brother, Elmi, in 2009, no one even knew about it. She used a Christian minister, even though they're Muslim. And look at the Daily Mail printing all of this in black and white now, saying they have confirmed it, writing, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar told friends years ago that the man who went on to become her second husband was in fact her brother. DailyMail.com can confirm this, and now, for the first time, one of those friends has come forward to reveal exactly how Omar and Ahmed Elmi scandalized the Somali community in Minneapolis. They write, look, this is her brother Elmi. Look at them. Here's a photo of Ilhan. Side by side, they look like siblings. Look at her first husband. Clearly not her sibling. Elmi, clearly her sibling. The guy confirming all.
And clearly feminine. Like, what is he wearing? Bro, this is crazy, bro.
Of this for the Daily Mail's report is this guy, Abdi Hakim Osman, pictured here with both Ilhan and her first husband, and it gets...
Yo, what's crazy is, right? What I don't understand is Ilhan Omar has been in the government for longer than a decade, for sure. Like, she's been in, like, she was young. I seen her when she was like really young. So, I mean, you would think that she wouldn't even have to go to that degree to get her brother into the country. I mean, wouldn't she be able to pull some strings? You're in the government. I mean, you could probably pull some strings. So the fact that she even did this, first of all, it goes against everything that Islam stands for. That's ultimately number one. But number two, it's like, bro, it's corrupt. Like, her brother is here illegally, and she is supposed to be held to this standard, and she's doing things like this, and then you have all the fraud going on, and all of a sudden she's acting like, oh, we're locking people up. we're doing thorough investigations. No, you're not. You're only speaking on this because it's coming out. That's it. And you didn't hear anything that Ilhan Omar or anybody, Tim Walz, any of them saying anything about all of the fraud that's been going on. You didn't hear anything of it. As soon as it came out, now all of a sudden, we're locking people up. That's what Tim Walz said. Yeah, okay.
Way more salacious. This is nothing yet. They write, in the late 2000s, Elmi appeared in Minneapolis, said Osman, who referred to Hearsay by his nickname Southside throughout the interview, saying people began noticing that Ilhan and Southside Hearsay were often with a very effeminate young guy, Osman said, who spoke in Somali through an interpreter. He was very feminine in the way he dressed. He would wear light lipstick and pink clothes and very, very short shorts. In the summer, people started whispering about him. That's her younger brother. Hearsay and Ilhan both told me it was Ilhan's brother, and he had been living in London, but he was mixing with what were seen as bad influences that the family did not like, so they sent him to Minneapolis as rehab. Yikes. And the walls are apparently closing in on Ilhan. The New York Post reporting last month that the FBI is investigating all of this, the marriage, and had met with a source in Minneapolis who handed over a trove of documents, they said, related to the marriage. Any findings were to be shared with ICE and the U.S. Department of Education. The paper reported anyone found guilty of committing marriage fraud faces up to 5 years in jail and a fine of $250,000. Here's another picture of Elmi, Ilhan's brother. They say they purposely used the Christian minister to conduct the ceremony because an imam would have known they were related and would have refused to marry them, or because they would be lying to Allah, something I'm assuming is a big no-no.
A big no-no. Big no-no. Yo, but see, I could disrespect the Christian religion for doing something like this because, dude, come on, bro. But I'ma say that maybe they thought they were really in a situation, but I mean, don't you got to use actual documentation or something? I don't know how that goes. I need to make my I'm engaged right now. I need to make my situation official immediately. But yeah, this is crazy, bro. This is
for Muslims.
Crazy.
Here's the actual marriage license. Here it is, showing Ilhan Omar did in fact marry a guy named Ahmed Elmi, who's her alleged brother. Here's the pastor who married them in 2009, the Christian pastor. And it's not just marriage fraud that she's alleged to have committed.
I'm also asking Congresswoman Craig to initiate an ethics investigation into Congresswoman Omar because of questions about federal tax fraud, federal immigration fraud, federal student loan fraud, and state violations of perjury, bigamy, kickbacks, and acts of campaign fraud abuse in Boston, Washington, New York, Chicago, and Florida. There are also violations of state ethics or of the Minnesota House ethics rules regarding colleges for speeches she gave while she was in partial control of their budgets as a member of the House Higher Education Finance Committee in both 2017 and 2018. She was found guilty of the violations by the Minnesota Campaign Finance Board 3 weeks ago in order to return those funds on June 6th. Ms. Omar appears to be a serial career criminal and should not have access to our nation's highest secrets and intelligence.
Now, that right there is what I wholeheartedly believe in right there, is that these people should not have access to classified information, bro, period. And look how easily it is to defraud American taxpayers, bro. Like, that's all you hearing, bro. Since Trump, if Trump never comes in at all, you don't hear any of this. You don't hear this. Even during his first term, he was talking about draining the swamp, draining the swamp, draining the swamp, right? But we really didn't get into the whole exposing the fraud, waste, and abuse that's going on in the government until 2024. Trump is dismantling this whole thing, and this is why they're truly upset with Donald Trump, and they don't like him, because he is turning their whole world upside down. He is letting the American people know what's going on. He is being transparent about it, and he's very vocal about it, and he's not holding back. And he shouldn't, bro. And he should listen. He has to go all the way through with this. All the way through, bro. 2028 is right around the corner, and I would love to see the United States to get back to some type of normalcy. And this is not disregarding anybody's, belief systems or, how you want to live your life. But when you start putting it in the schools, when you start putting, trying to brainwash the children, for me, that is the line that cannot be crossed. And things need to dramatically change. And even though I've seen pictures of Trump supporting this whole LGBTQ thing to a degree, come on, bro. We need to stop this stuff, man. It's one thing, like I said, bro. What you do is what you do. That's your business. But when you claim to be Christians, right? This is not a Christian doctrine, bruh. Actually, this, it doesn't align with any religion. So if you're religious and you claim to be religious, and this is why I dislike these things that are going on. It's like almost like, people are just going along to go along, but then you don't stand for nothing. People could be like, oh, you're insensitive, you're this, you're that. No, I just have my belief system and what I believe in. And if that goes against what I believe in, like, who are you to tell me I have to do these things? I don't. I don't have to ridicule it or be cruel towards it, but I'm not going to participate in it. I'm not going to act like I'm with it, and that's the thing that I dislike about a lot of these politicians. A lot of them don't agree with most of these things that are going on. And you have people like John Kennedy who are vocal about how they don't agree with it. And then you have people who just go along to go along, bro. And that's the reason why we're in the space that we're in now. It's crazy.
That is why I'm calling on our Congresswoman Angie Craig to protect both our national security and our respect of the rule of law. Tax fraud, immigration fraud,
all fraud,
student loan fraud, perjury, bigamy, kickbacks.
And mind you, also, when these people come out with these types of allegations against people, understand, bro, that's at one of the highest levels. They're not coming with hearsay and bull like, legacy media does. They ain't just coming out here with speculations and unknown sources. They're coming with actual evidence, bro. Actual evidence. So this stuff is obviously true. It's true, and it just needs to be handled quickly.
And campaign abuse fraud from the East Coast to the Mississippi River. I'm presenting you with a copy of my letter and just a sampling of the materials available to you on these topics, and we'll take your questions.
So here's
a sampling of materials that I have offered you today.
Look at all that paperwork, and he said that's just a sample. That's not even all of it.
Anybody who would like them, there's many more than this available all over social media and in printed publicity and elsewhere. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take your questions.
And the story still not over, folks. Ilhan then remarried her first husband and had a third child only before moving out of the family home last year and into this luxury penthouse where she now lives with her new husband, who was...
And this right here is why I don't respect, especially when it comes to being a Muslim. I'm not going to, disrespect, her, But we know he's not Muslim. And she's going against the grain. She is going against the grain. Ilhan Omar is wilding all the way around the board, bro. I'm not even going to lie to you. And hey, man, it's so funny. It's so funny. She talks about all of this white supremacist stuff, and then she's married to a white man. Oh my God, you can't make it up, bro.
Her chief fundraiser, a guy named Tim Manette, who left his wife and daughter to marry Ilhan Omar. Holy freaking moly.
And she crashing the party? Oh, goodness. So she's a homewrecker, and she claims all of this. She claims all of this white supremacy talk and all this. Well, I tell you, bro, it's all politics. It's all talk. It's all talk. Come on. You're so, embedded in this whole racist rhetoric, but yet you're married to a white man. And then he was married at that. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier.
This lady is a walking, talking scandal. She not only married her brother, but she's a homewrecker as well. All of this, the FBI apparently investigating, along with how Ilhan Omar is now allegedly worth $30 million. $30 million bucks.
30 million? What'd she do? Hold on, I gotta look this up. Let him go.
You say corrupt?
So it's been known for quite a while that Ilhan Omar apparently married her own brother to help him gain entry illegally into the country. That's a violation of immigration law. That actually happened, it turns out. And now we're learning the FBI had evidence to confirm it, but didn't do anything about it. Miranda Devine is an actual journalist. She works at the New York Post, where she writes a column. She joins us tonight to explain what exactly happened. Miranda, thanks so much for coming on.
Pleasure, Tucker. Well, some basically Republican operatives up in Minnesota decided to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on private investigators to really find out if Ilhan Omar was a genetic match, the DNA match, to the man who was her second husband. They went to 3 continents. They found a cigarette butt and a drinking straw.
And she's smoking bogeys. Hey, man, we all ain't perfect, man. I ain't gonna judge her for that. But listen. It says when Omar first was elected to Congress in 2019, her financial disclosure showed a negative net worth. But her May 2025 filing for the 2024 reporting year painted a dramatically different picture. The document listed 2 major assets tied to her husband, Tim Manette. He got an LLC, a winery business valued between $1 and $5 million. Also, Rose Lake Capital LLC, a venture capital firm valued between $5 and $25 million. Taken together, those figures suggest a combined value of $6 to $30 million. Okay, so her husband is worth $30 million. Okay. But she was pop. She had a negative net worth. But hold on. So basically, hold on. One question was how quickly those assets appear to balloon. And okay. So it says What raised even more question was how quickly those assets appeared to balloon. In Omar's previous year's filing, ESTRCU LLC was valued at just $15,000 to $50,000, while Rose Lake Capital was listed at a mere $1 to $1,000. Oh, whoa. Oh, somebody's robbing. Hold on. She also took a jab at the claims with a bit of humor. She said, keep wishing millions into existence so I could pay off these student loans. It is true that the assets are tied to Minette, whom Omar married in 2020, and not solely to her. Well, Omar married in 2020 and not solely to her. That distinction helps explain why Omar rejected the characterization of her net worth ballooning to as much as $30 million. Her filings also reveal a far more relatable financial reality. In 2024, Omar reported $15,000 to $50,000 in student loan debt. So basically, some stuff going on. So basically, she came into the game in 2019 with a negative net worth. Then, whatever down the line, she's probably making some decent money being, a congresswoman. But she marries this guy, Tim Minette, and he has 2 LLCs. They said that, what was the year? It says, in Omar's previous year's filing, the one LLC was just $15,000 to $50,000, valued at $15,000 to $50,000, and the other one was valued basically up to the venture capital firm was only valued at $1,000, between $1 and $1,000. So now these are worth between $5 and $25 million, and the other one is $1 million, valued at $1 to $5 million. Bruh, come on, bruh. Bro, they be getting the big licks. They out of control, bro. Dang.
Which they decided, they sent it to a DNA laboratory and found conclusively that the DNA matched, that the second husband...
Yo, without her, what's her name, bro? She be looking...
was a sibling, according to this DNA sample. So the very day that they were going to unleash this on the world, and in fact I was interviewing one of the people involved, the FBI swooped on the gentleman, Anton Lazaro, from this Republican.
So they got a 99.9% match. So she can't deny this. That's the whole point of this. And mind you, this Tucker Carlson interview was from back in the day when he was on Fox. So they did some PI work, found a cigarette butt and a straw, and got these DNA samples and proved that she and this guy, Elmeet, was brother and sister. So she can't, why don't they, why aren't they asking about this? When Jake Tapper, this is why I don't respect legacy media, especially guys like Jake Tapper, Don Lemon, and whatnot, right? Because she was on the show, right? This question came up. This statement came up because Trump said it in a clip that they showed. And Jake Tapper didn't ask her whatsoever, scooped right over it, made the conversation about Trump, because that's what they do.
Pack up in Minnesota, and arrested him on some different charges. Who knows whether he's guilty or not guilty. I mean, he's not guilty until proven, but he's in jail, and so his story never got to see the light of day. I mean, luckily he'd told the FBI they were not interested. They told him the statute of limitations had run out. We managed to see the website before he took it down, before he was arrested, and managed to report the story such as it was.
I wonder, just kind of spitballing here, what will be more shocking to her fellow liberals? The fact that Ilhan Omar had an incestuous marriage to her own brother, or that she smoked cigarettes? Which will they be more stunned by?
Definitely the latter. And
Hey, yo,
they've
he's
got photographs
stupid.
of her smoking the cigarette, so I don't think that's...
Yo, why do people always smoke their cigarettes like that? Where they just be like, I don't know, it made me laugh, whatever.
that's at all in doubt.
Yeah, incest is just a kind of alternate lifestyle, but smoking a cigarette, that's immoral. So just to be totally clear, she did marry her brother. We know that. Not only repulsive, but illegal. It's fraud. She's not been indicted. She's not going to be indicted. That's totally cool now.
Well, the FBI was told by one of these associates of these people that found the information and was just told no, that they've just decided the statute of limitations has run out on marriage fraud, even though there's no statute of limitations.
Oh, my God. On immigration fraud. That's what she said last. That's crazy, bro. You can't make some of this stuff up, bro. You truly cannot. Dang. Ilhan Omar. I know she chain smoking cigarettes right now. I know she going through it because she, you know, all of the fraud going on in her state, and with her people, and you know, statements that she made, just it's so much, man. It's just, it's not a good look for her, I'll tell you that much, man. But hey, man, we'll see what comes of it. On to this next story. So there's been you got guys like I don't know how to say his last name, but his name is Sam, and another guy named God Logic. You know, it's a lot of them that's online, and you know this is the thing, right? So I do a lot of I watch you know, especially doing research and stuff like that, seeing what videos I want to react to and talk about and stuff like that. So I watch my fair share of videos, but I also like to stay in tune with, you know, my religion and things like that, of course. So I follow a brother named Sheikh. His name is Uthman Ibn Farouk, and he is out of San Diego. Ex, you know, gang member. I think originally from Pakistan, I think, but came over to the States very young, basically grew up in San Diego, was in the gang life and all that, found Islam, long story short, and very, very knowledgeable brother, be online debating guys. The difference, right, that I see, you know, I could be wrong, I'm not going to say 100%, but I watch Uthman Ibn Farouk's channel grow. He got the One Message Foundation. Shout out to them. If you're into learn, even if you're a Christian or other religion, and you just, you know, want to, you know, not necessarily read the Quran or tap into some things or whatever, you know, I'm into them. I'm into history. I'm into religion. I've studied. I grew up Christian. I've been to the kingdom halls. I've been to temples. Obviously, been to mosques. You know, I study history, I study religion, I've read the Talmud, I've read the Torah, I've read the Bible, I've read the Quran. You know, I'm very interested. I was very interested in the truth back in like 2014. And then, you know, one thing led to another. I took my Shahada. So anyway, that's another story. But the thing that I like and like about Uthman Ibn Farouk is that the fact that he is a brother who is out there giving dawah and just, you know, giving people knowledge on the deen, right? Then people come up to the table, you know, question things, ends up turning into a debate. And then you got those who actually fly to San Diego just to debate Uthman Ibn Farouk, right? But the difference that I see in people like Sam and God Logic is that their whole mission is to disprove Islam. Whereas the Uthman, his whole thing is to give dawah. And, you know, if you go on his page, you'll see the debates and things like that. But you'll also see the lessons and all the other things that he does. And so it's just a lot of stuff with Christianity and Islam going on. And like I said in the beginning, the thing that I dislike the most is that you have guys like, you know, even like RJ talks to them. Listen, we're Americans. This is an American culture, right? You know, you got a lot of things that are against the, you know, Islamic religion, right? That goes on in America. but it's America. This is not an Islamic country, right? So this is why I wanted to play this video, because it's really important, because he makes some good points. But the thing is that Islam is national. It is what it is. But I think it's gotten to a point where in America there was just so much, as you start seeing more and more Muslims and things like that, people start getting like, I guess anxiety or something, like what's going on? It's like taking over. But anyway, I ain't gonna take away from the video. We'll react more about it. But I wanted to play this video more solely because he makes very good points about how this is American culture and how Muslims should be when you're in American culture. But let's get into the video. We'll talk more about it as it goes along.
Very controversial here, okay? I personally believe I'm aligned with the white supremacists on this one, and the Islamophobes.
What?
I don't know.
You're joking, or is it?
I'm serious.
Okay.
I think Muslims should go back home.
All right. All right.
I'm serious. Like, let me tell you something. Muslims don't necessarily need to be involved in politics in the West.
Okay.
Okay. Number one, they're seen by I don't know if it's majority or not, but a good sizable chunk of America and Europe and maybe Canada, that they don't want Muslims to come and basically impact their country or change some of the stuff about their country
Now, real quick. Now, this was one of the points that he made that is true. At the end of the day, we shouldn't be trying to change the culture. The stuff that's going on in Dearborn, Michigan, I can understand why people feel away. I'm just saying, putting myself in their shoes, right? I'm not saying I disagree with Muslims living anywhere, for that matter. But he makes a very good point. Muslims shouldn't be coming to America trying to change the culture here and talking about like Sharia law and things like that. At the end of the day, this is America. America is, a country that has their own laws, own everything. I had made a comment on their video and somebody commented back, which I said something to the effect of, I'm Muslim, I'm an American Muslim, I agree with this totally, and Muslims need to adapt this, that, and the third. And he took it a little wrong, but I understand why he did, because the way I worded it. But what I was trying to say was the fact that, when you come here, you can still be Muslim, you can still pray 5 times a day, but when you start invading on the culture here and making it to where you're trying to take over, you can understand why Americans feel the way they feel. And then on top of that, you got to understand something too, is that most Americans are programmed to believe that Muslims are terrorists and, they put on bombs and blow each other. Like when that's like literally like under 1% type of situation. But the way the narrative is put out there in movies and things like, every time you see, a movie with, soldiers and things like that, you'll see, the enemy. That's the enemy. Muslims, Islam is the enemy. When people don't understand, and I'll get more towards this at the end, is that Islam has more in common with Christianity than any other religion. But for some reason, Christianity aligns more with Judaism more than Islam, which is kind of crazy. But we'll get into that at the end.
Become, let's say, political leaders in their country, right?
Okay.
Even if they don't change anything,
Okay.
they don't like it that basically Muslims become political leaders. I resonate with that from a perspective that, look, if our basic rights are safeguarded, and sadly they're not, if they were safeguarded, we don't have to really get involved in politics as much.
But isn't that just limiting us, like in the West? Meaning, like,
Well, it looks like it. Yeah, look, it is limiting. 100% say, yeah, it is limiting. But let me explain. Like, what is our role as Muslims here in the West? There is 2 opinions between the Muslims on this, between the Muslim community leaders. The vast majority says that we're here, we need to impact America, we need to be part of America, we need to assimilate and integrate and be part of the social fabric of America and become powerful, just like maybe other minorities are powerful. We need to be powerful. And there's a minority, maybe I'm one of them, probably maybe the only voice basically that really is speaking like this.
Okay.
Is that no, I think we should respect the majority. The majority doesn't feel the majority doesn't want the Muslims to take these important positions. They want these positions for themselves. Look, we just have to respect that this is their country. This is their home.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to go into other people's homes and then start basically saying, look, I'm gonna say what are you gonna do in your living room and your kitchen, and you're just moving tables and chairs. I'm gonna come in like a nice guest and respect the home of the host that is inviting me to his house.
And that's a fact. And that's what should be going on, is that Muslims that, especially Muslims that come here, from other countries, should be gracious to come here in a sense, right? And that's why when people like RJ talk about them assimilating, but you don't have to change your religion. You don't have to stop praying or things like this. To be honest with you, from Islamic perspective, coming to the West isn't the best thing. Financially maybe yes, and as far as school and things like that might be better, right? But as far as coming here as a Muslim isn't the best decision because of all the things that, go against Islam, that goes on here. That's like regular things, you can't deny that. So it kind of could be detrimental to Muslims anyway, coming to the West, to be honest with you, because there's so much, women aren't garbed up, dressing modestly and things like that, pornography, how it's not to say that Muslims don't even indulge in these things. What I'm saying is it goes against, it's forbidden, drinking, smoking, all of these different things. But the one aspect, right, this is when things become like, because I see it's nothing wrong with Muslims praying. You can pray anywhere, right? But I seen a video, for instance, I think I might have even played it a little while ago, but there was a video where there were Muslims blocking the sidewalk. We can't do that. You can't do that, bro. Like, when I seen it, like, the way and I understand, the video was portrayed like, oh, this is what Muslims do. They think that they could just pray anywhere and do, but that was a bad look, honestly. The Muslims shouldn't have been doing that. You can't block the sidewalk, bro. It's many places to pray at. You didn't have to block the sidewalk. Now, I've also seen videos disrespecting Islam where people, I think one joint was at Ohio State or a college somewhere. I could be wrong about Ohio State, but it was at a college, I believe. Because I seen Uthman ibn Farouk talking about, he was talking to the people like, come do that when I'm here. They was disrespecting the brothers. They was praying. And if you're a Muslim, you know that you're not supposed to, stand in front of Muslims while they're praying. And these people, they were some white boys. And they was disrespecting the brothers, and which is just super disrespectful. And you wouldn't see Muslims do that to Christians. You wouldn't see them going and while Christians are praying and disrespect them. You won't see that. So it's funny, and I'll say that for the end, but it's funny how Christians claim that Islam is so bad and they do all of these things and, they want to kill everybody, but they don't hold themselves accountable for things that they do and things that they go against when it comes to their religion. But we'll get into that at the end when I talk.
We need to understand as Muslims, we have a home. And this is the problem. The problem is not necessarily like politics or not. Sometimes the act is halal, but see, there's a repercussions to the act. Okay. Irrespective of being in mayor is halal or haram. Just put that aside for a second. Let's assume it's okay. I'm saying there's an impact. There's a strategic, problem here. Do we want to continue to live in America, Canada,
and real quick, he was talking in the beginning. I skipped by it a little bit, but they was talking about Imam Dani, of course, because he claims he's Muslim, and they was talking about basically like, do you agree with him? Do you think he's actually on the straight path and all of this stuff? But I didn't play that because I specifically wanted to play this because this was more important that I feel like needed to be out there as far as like this whole discussion.
Europe for the next 300, 400 years, forever? Or should we go back home? Like it's a real question that we have to wrestle with. And the Islamophobes who are and the populist movement, political movements in both Europe and America are screaming for the last 10, 15 years, very loud and clear, that they don't want us there. So we should respect that and say, look, we're just here guests. And to be honest, we don't need to even be involved in politics. but as long as our rights are respected. This is where basically the issue is. Like, so I'm not 100% aligned. I would like to be aligned fully with the Islamophobic.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's a joke, but like, at the end of the day, it's their stance. If both stances are equal, doesn't mean that basically I'm aligned in any way or shape with their views. But I'm just saying I respect. Look, if there's people who are not, let's say, if there's people who are not supremacist, they're just white Americans, and they're the majority. And they say, look, we want to keep America white. Okay, we want to keep America, let's say, liberal and a capitalistic nation. And Islam is contradictory to our values. And maybe they might say, look, if you guys want to stay here as guests and just don't like try to change anything about our country, we're fine. And this is the position I take. That while the Muslimin are living in the West, we should respect those host countries. Never try to change anything about it as long as our basic rights are protected. Our rights are protected. And then also basically try to have a vision to go back home. We have a home.
And I'm going to end it with that. Yo, shout out to Sheikh Husta. Definitely great dialogue on this topic. And what he said was 100% factual, bro. In the sense that, bro, you can't come here and try to change the culture. It's just, first of all, it's just not going to end good, because at the end of the day, Americans are accustomed to being American, bro, and living a certain way. So you come here and then you talk about changing, laws and things like that, and changing the Constitution. It's not going to sit right with Americans, bro. It's just period. So it's already a ticking time bomb on that issue, And honestly, this guy, Imam Donnie, I'm not, I be saying little things, man, but, as Muslims, we can't, disrespect the brothers or whatever, but he just doesn't align with values, things that and that's the problem. That's why, we shouldn't be politicians, to be honest. But more importantly, bro, Muslims should build up their own countries. I mean, Dubai is beautiful. So when they say, oh, every Muslim country is terrible, not true. Dubai is beautiful, probably one of the safest, probably the safest country, and very, very rich. But, anyway. But the thing also I want to end with is, the hypocrisy, right? Because you got people like Officer Tatum, for instance, right? I've said this in the past because I just seen him for a few videos just keep, drilling on this whole, Islam being a threat. And bro, you don't, and this is why it makes me mad, because these people do not have the information. They're just one-sided, they're biased, period. And the thing is, it's funny, it's so funny to me that, I watch, and listen, I like Officer Tatum's videos. It's like anything, it's just like anybody watching my video. You're not going to agree with everything, and that's okay. But when it comes to this topic alone, he is totally wrong about it. And the funny part is that he aligns and he's so pro-Israel. But Islam aligns more with Christianity than Judaism. Facts. This is a fact. There's not even nothing to discuss about it. Like, really, Jews disrespect. They don't even respect Jesus. They don't respect Jesus, bro. They don't even at all. Muslims, we respect Jesus. We'll never disrespect Jesus. We love Jesus. The difference is we don't look at Jesus as the Son of God or God. We don't believe in the Trinity. It's things that we don't believe in. But as far as all the prophets and things like that, some of the stories are different. But we believe in the same prophets, the same stories, the same, pretty much everything. The only difference is we believe that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last prophet, right? And that they're all prophets. None of them are God or sons of God or any of that. You could say son of God, we're all son of God, children of God, from the sense of endearment in that aspect. But as far as biological, no, that's not, we're created. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, it kills me, because it's just so wrong. And what's funny too? So yesterday, I came across this video that was very interesting. So it was an AI debate between Christianity and Islam, right? And Islam won a debate, and they were talking about, it was very interesting. It was kind of cool too, because they were breaking down actual viewpoints. And I'm like, it's like cool but scary at the same time. It's like, they got all of this information is crazy. But they were breaking down sides, and they basically was on a point scale, and Islam won a debate. But also, I used ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT some questions. Right, let me see if I think I saved it. I think I saved them. I asked ChatGPT, let me see, what did I say? It says ChatGPT said overall evidence ranking, meaning like evidence based, right? Not theological, pure scholarship. It says the Quran is the best, meaning evidence based. Let me see what else. It says, so which scripture is backed by the most evidence? It depends on what kind of evidence you value. For pure textual preservation, the Quran. So for preservation, and as far as, this is the thing that made me take my shahada, was the fact that Islam was backed by so much evidence. And I think that's what you need as far as your belief systems and pretty much anything. It needs to be backed by something. It's like if somebody say, I was at the concert, and it'd be like, me too. I on the second act, the evidence is like y'all both was there. Is when the second song that he played, that joint was dope or whatever. Whatever. Stuff like that. It's backed by evidence. So it says, it was another one. It says, so basically it says the Quran was backed by the most evidence, and it says so it broke down the Hebrew Bible, the Quran, and the New Testament. And it says, for pure textual preservation, the Quran; for historical corroboration, the Hebrew later books and New Testament; for internal coherence, the Quran; for manuscript quantity. It kept saying manuscript quantity, meaning that the Bible had more manuscripts or more, I guess, pages or something. But it says the most scientifically compatible, the Quran, because its language is broader, less literal, and contains fewer points that clearly contradict modern science. It says, but it also was bigging up the Hebrew Bible too, which I want to look into because I heard about this. But the thing is, bro, whether you believe system or not, bro, I don't like seeing it. I just don't like seeing the lies. That's my thing. Say what you want. Don't believe in Islam. That's fine. That's your belief system. You're entitled to that, right? But when you say things that are just not true and just like this is whack, And right now, PBD, right? So I follow PBD too, and I like PBD, but I didn't like that PBD had this guy named Sam on. His last name was like Shamlon or something. I don't even know how to say it, but he had this guy on, and basically, Uthman Ibn Farouk basically made a video saying that they're both weak, and you let this guy come on and spew a bunch of garbage about Islam. And because that's all he does. That's the whole thing. Their whole logic is how to disprove Islam instead of making people believe in Christianity, because they know most of the things that they talk about, like the Trinity, you can't back it by evidence. You can't back the Trinity by evidence or factual proofs. It's just literally, I believe in the Trinity. It was made up, and that's just a fact. It's not even in the Bible. But anyway, we're not going to get into what's true and what's not. But this guy, PBD, basically says, and I'm waiting for a response from Uthman, because he said that basically he tried to set up a debate, which I want to see. And, anyway, they said something like, oh, we're not going to have him on because he lied on us. It's weak. It was weak, what they said he lied about. But I don't know. You couldn't really hear the video that they played, but basically it was along the lines of Uthman saying that they weren't going to let him, basically making a statement that they said that they weren't going to let him speak and and they were going to back Christianity because they're Christians. Or say it was something along those lines. It was stupid, but hopefully y'all see this debate. I want to see it. But he had this guy, Sam, in San Diego with David Wood, because I be following this stuff. But he had this guy, and I'm mad. I'm sorry that I'm long-winded, but he had this guy in San Diego. Uthman is from San Diego. David Wood went to San Diego, brought the guy Sam. Long story short, this dude just ran the whole time, didn't win the debate. And now he gets online and keep talking about Uthman when he had the opportunities to debate him and he didn't. So, yeah, but anyway, man, we need more peace in the world. That's just the end all be all, man. We need to work together. And another thing is that they be lying about is they try to say that, oh, Christians can't live in Muslim countries, like they'll be killed or something. Like, bro, Jews, Christians have all been living in Muslim countries forever. Like, that's just a big lie, bro. And I got evidence to back that. But anyway, man, sorry I was long-winded about that. But that's the end of the show. So if you mess with the show, man, make sure you hit that like button, hit that share button, comment down below. Also, subscribe, man. I'm at 149, bro. I need one more to get to 150 to make me feel good about myself. So somebody give me that subscribe. I truly appreciate it. Seriously, all just aside. Also, I put I really like I don't do the begging thing online. But if you want to support the channel, I do got my Venmo down at the bottom. If you want to support and buy me a monster, truly appreciate it. If not, still appreciate it. You for tapping in. But yeah, man, it's your boy SL550. This is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Until next time, I'm out.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.